Good morning, and it's Lilia from Heal Scotland and Scotland's Wild Medicine. And with me this morning, I have the wonderful, effervescent legend that is Nicola Harkins. How are you doing, my darling?
I am fantastic, Lily. It's Friday, which is always a good day.
Regardless of where you are in the world, whether you're working or not, Fridays just get that, yes, it's Friday,
Yeah.
hasn't it? I really was exposed to your genius when we did the a goddess gathering, and I
Mm.
got to meet you in person and actually experience one of your workshops. And I was just like, oh my God, we need to get this out. We need to get it out. And you very kindly agreed to come on and help me with the April challenge, which is Love Your Lymph and Liver. Now, I know you've got like literally hundreds of techniques and protocols to share, but we're going to start off talking about the big six.
Yeah.
So, thanks so much for your time. I'll forgive you for not coming to the festivals since you're doing and I'm booking you for the festival next year. Now, you have to be there. But thank you for giving me your time and to help the people of Scotland and beyond learn this
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, Lily. The change I've seen in my clients just from these simple, just little 3-minute routines in their day. So why would we not want everybody to have this?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. And then all you wonderful people have to do is do it. So can you
Exactly.
just explain what the big six is and
Yeah.
why
So
would you do it? Why would you waste the 3 minutes of your life every day?
so I think it was in the first lockdown, when I was, desperate to be at work. And I thought it gave me time to do a lot of courses I'd been meaning to do. And Dr. Perry Nicholson, who is the creator of Stop Chasing Pain, he works out of the States. And I did one of his courses and I just fell in love with him, fell in love with his ethos, fell in love with the way his brain worked. And also was really captured by his story. And he had been very, very ill, had been to so many different health practitioners, and nobody could help him. And then he discovered the lymphatics, and just how much it can impact our health and our wellness. So I did that was the first time I did one of his courses, and it was all about the lymphatic system. And at the end of the course, he obviously taught you how to do like a full lymphatic treatment on a client or on yourself, but he ended the workshop with the big six. And he often talks about the big six on his Instagram and his YouTube. And he will often start a lot of his treatments with his clients with the big six. Now, the big six basically looks at some of the major bottlenecks in our body of where our lymphatic system may be a little bit blocked. And if you're anything like me, especially in lockdown, I was really active. I was doing my kettlebells in the house, I was walking my dog, I was mountain biking. I'd always been really active, and I thought my lymph will be fine. Oh my God, nothing could be further than the truth. I thought I had been hit by a bus the following day. Now, that wasn't just from the big six. Obviously, I had done the full Buna on myself. Even though he states not to do all these things at once, but hey, how am I going to know if I I don't put myself into a rapid adaptation response? And I always say to my clients, if I've done this to myself, then I won't do it to you. But the big six is so simple. So within our body, we have millions of lymphatic vessels. I mean, every single cell in our body is bathed in lymph. And we actually have 15 litres of lymphatic fluid within our body. And we have to basically regenerate and replenish about 3 litres per day. So the first thing I would say is hydration is always really important, but also we want to then look at these bottleneck areas. And the way that the lymph wants to drain is up through this area here. So this is always the area that you're going to start. So even if somebody's got puffy ankles, puffy knees, tight calves, you always start up at the collarbones. And the reason I really love the big six is, it's the same thing every single day. It becomes like second nature. You don't really even have to think about it that much once you get into it. Like it just becomes just part of your muscle memory. Now, our lymph nodes in our body can either be superficial or they can be deep. And a lot of pain complaints, brain fog, fatigue, really weird kind of muscle aches, heaviness. This would all indicate to me that there was a problem with the lymphatic system. And then I would maybe just have a little prod and a poke about, and I would see people go, oh gosh, that's a bit tender. And actually, when you move over these points in your body, you will be like, wow, I just didn't even know, because we're so distracted by maybe like we don't have mobility in our shoulder, or our foot is sore, so we're not really always bringing attention to maybe the underlying causes of these things. And there's maybe 3 different reasons why something is the way that it is, but by actually first of all working with the basics and just getting the fluids moving in the body, then we can bring about great change. And for me, I think it's just it's the extra energy it brings. You just have more energy.
And who doesn't want more energy these days? And the way I always used to describe it to my nutrition clients was like, the cardiovascular system, even if you sit in your lazy ass all day, there's a level of the heart pumps.
There's a heart pumping it. Yeah.
Unless you're moving it, or if somebody's moving it for you, and you're lucky enough to be able to get regular massages and treatments, then it can become like a stagnant pond.
Yeah.
And that's
that's exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
That are just starting to stink in some bodies in terms of how they feel, the contraction and the darkness, which can manifest in anxiety, depression, lethargy, and all the autoimmune chronic diseases we've got. So fantastic. Carry on.
So the way that I describe it to clients is, and it was funny because the other week I found myself watching Labyrinth, with David Bowie. And there's a scene where they're kind of, away across this pond, and they're like, oh my God, it stinks. I'm like, oh, this is the bog of eternal stench. And I was like, that's the lymphatic system. You don't move it, it's like the bog of eternal stench.
Yes.
And I thought, do you want your lymphatic system to be like the Caribbean blue, clear, liquid, you can see everything through it, the coral reefs and the fish are thriving, they're living their best life? Or do you want to be in the bog of eternal stench? And I don't think anybody wants to. I don't, I'm sure everyone's seen Labyrinth, but if you haven't, go and watch it. It's good.
That's another T-shirt. I think that should be. Then he be in the bog of eternal stench.
And Dr. Perry has a T-shirt that he wears often in his workshops, and it says, "If in doubt, lymph it out."
Like it.
And it's really good. So the Big Six basically works through 6 different bottlenecks of the body, and obviously if you have swelling, or there's you have a health concern around your lymphatic system, absolutely go and see a professional. But I would say if you're having any intestinal issues or any gut issues, you absolutely need to look at the lymphatic system.
Yes, and this is the thing, like Rachel's on there, she's saying, please make that a T-shirt, but also saying the way you work with the whole body. And I think this is everybody I'm talking to now, you can't say, well, I am this one thing, because what we're all doing is one thing's leading us into another thing. And like we're talking about before we came on, you can't talk about the liver, although we will be talking about the liver, without talking about the spleen, without talking about the kidneys, without talking about the roots of elimination, without talking about the emotions that are trapped there, the colours that affect it, the frequencies. It's all this phenomenal sacred geometry of intertwined connection. And that's, I think, one of the big problems with the current system is it just doesn't see that
Absolutely.
your pain in your shoulder could be a direct cause of a leaky gut, or a trapped emotion from when you were 10. And I was talking to
liver, chronic hip and shoulder problems that can actually come from the liver, because our organs, we have all of these different layers of fascia, and our organs are also encased by this fascia. So if you might not have a problem with your liver, but there might be an issue with the connective tissue or the fascia around it, and that can then pull on the shoulder or the hip. You know, so I mean, I think sometimes people will say to me, gosh, it's all just so overwhelming. But really, it's not. It's really very, very simple. And if we can just break down a few different, you know, regular techniques for people to use on themselves, you know, we don't have to, you know, have a deep understanding, because we know how we feel within our body when something feels good.
Yes, we absolutely do. And I think, since I've been studying with the Genius Insight app and Dr. Deborah Drake in Canada, first of all, I was just like, oh no, I'm not going to live long enough to learn all this.
Yeah.
And then I thought, you know what, just listen and trust that what you need to pick up from this 2-hour session is what you pick up. And then suddenly it's like, it all makes sense. And you don't quite know when that happened. But if you're just new to a kind of more holistic overview in the body,
Yeah.
and if we're looking for true healing, which I'm only interested in results, that's the only thing I'm interested in. And if we really want results, we need to have an understanding, because some people can change their diet and get a result straight away. Some people can let go of emotions and get a result straight away. Some people do fascia work and things release. But the big thing is we're on this journey and we never actually get there. These protocols, like I was saying to you earlier, the intermittent fasting, learning how to consciously override your breath work, letting go, meditation, mindfulness, it's just bringing them into your day in some shape or form, just to give your cells more peace. And now we're going to be bringing in the big six. And you're going to be popping in and out over the next month, making sure that people do this, because the challenge is, people, that you'll do the big six every day, and we'll remind you, and Nicola will be there with her expertise, and she's going to go into a bit of liver stuff as well. But we're going to start just plain and simple with the big six. And so you're saying we can do it in 3 minutes?
Yeah. So today, I'm just going to cover the basics, but throughout the month of April, you know, I'm going to be giving you some movement techniques that you can then add in if you've got time, and if you don't have time, that's okay. But the very basics, honestly, every single day you do the big six. Now, what you will find, and it's the same as everything, sometimes you don't really notice that much of a difference because it can be gradual, but if you stop doing it, then you definitely notice a difference. Absolutely, you know.
Yeah.
So the big six, we're basically going to work on the collarbones, then we're going to go up behind the ears.
I'm going to come off the stage, okay, and I'm going to let you demonstrate it. Okay.
So we're going to start at the collarbones, and all you're going to do is use the flat of your hand and just rub along the collarbone. Pretty fast, but light. So you don't need to, you know, dig in here. You don't need to really massage hard, just kind of light and fast. And you're going to do the other side. And then all you're going to do is just tap. Just tap all along your collarbones. Now, the next point is you're going to come up here behind the ear. There's a big lymph node here. Now, for some people, this might be a little bit tender, especially if you're recovering from a cold, throat infection. And again, just nice, light and fast. And then the other side. And really, you know, this can be like 10 seconds. And then, you know, I always just say sort of 10 taps, and just very gently tap. And then where the shoulder meets your chest, just all around here. So you don't necessarily need to go under the armpit, it's just more just in this shoulder area. And then tap. And then the other side. And then tap. And then on your tummy, just up and down. And then across the way. And again, here's the tap. Now, this also can have an impact on your vagus nerve. So some of you might feel a sense of relaxation. Okay, and then just in the groin area, just in the crease of your thigh. This is especially good if you sit all day. And tap. And then we're going to go behind the knee. Now, if you have any back pain, you put your leg up in a chair. And then, if you want your leg up in a chair and you're just going to hinge over, just remember, hinge from your hips, don't roll your back. And then just in behind the knee here. And then tap. Now that we've opened up all these bottleneck areas, what we want to do is now get the lymph moving. So the way you can do this is you can just come up and down on your toes, or if you're feeling a bit more energetic, bouncing. This is why little trampolines are really good for the lymphatic system. Now to finish, we're just going to get some movement through our limbs. So we're going to shake an arm. We're going to do this 16 times, okay? I've lost count already, but we're going to go 16, and then 16, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We're going to do the same with both legs. And then the other one. Okay, and then we're going to go 8. Then we're going to go 4. And then 2. And then 1. Now, I've already done this morning, and even that has made me feel a little bit lighter again. So that really doesn't take a long period of time. Now, I really like doing this in the morning. One, just because it gets everything moving. I also think it really wakes you up for the day. But you can do it at night time. And if your lymphatic system is something that you are a little bit concerned about, you can do it twice a day. You can do it morning and night. When things start to move, and especially if you are doing this multiple times a day, it would be quite rare, but just do be aware that you might have an adaptation response. And what that can look like is the following day, you might be a bit sluggish, you might feel a bit under the weather, you might feel a little bit dehydrated, sore heads, that kind of thing. And that is only because these nodes and vessels within your body, if this is the first time that you've paid any attention to your lymphatic system, all this old debris and all these old cells that have been, sitting waiting to be excreted, they're rushing suddenly to come out of your body, and your body's just trying to keep up with that response. So if sometimes we have to feel a little bit worse before we feel better, and anyone that's done a detox will know what I mean. But it's nothing to worry about. Just keep hydrated, keep drinking water, and yeah, just keep doing the big 6. But if if it's something that you are really struggling with, do go and see a therapist.
Yeah, somebody's asking here, Nick, if you have puffy armpits, is that sluggish lymph?
So there could be lots of different reasons for that. Any puffiness is an indication that there's lymph. What I would say is just have a feel in there, and if it feels a little bit tender, then I would say probably. But always, all the lymphatics in the body need to drain through the collarbone. So what you tend to find is maybe sometimes people have this, text neck, because everything's kind of closed off. Now, the other thing I forgot to mention is whenever we're doing any sort of lymphatic work, just some diaphragmic breathing to start and finish. I mean, we should always be breathing this way all the time, right? But
yeah, what's your YouTube channel called again?
Body Connect.
Body Connect.
There's a number that comes after it. I need to check that because I've only just started using that again.
5447.
Oh, is that? Okay. Thanks.
No, yes, it is. It is. because I wanted to put up that video as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, there we go. So that people can, because obviously what we want is the challenge goes on every day, and you remember what you have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll only take a couple of days, and then you'll just be like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I did that workshop with you, but obviously it just, the same thing happens. You go on, you think I'm going to do that, and then you forget. So that's why this kind of, the challenges are about this,
Yeah.
just this daily, just create a nice new habit, and then hopefully it's just something that you feel is easy, and you can feel the benefit from, and it's going to add less stress rather than more stress to your world.
Absolutely.
Because,
And I think keeping it simple and keeping it short, it means that everyone's got 3 minutes, right?
yes, yeah, absolutely. You could almost be doing that in the shower.
Yeah, a lot of my clients actually, especially if they've got kids,
Uh-huh.
and the shower is literally their only private time. So if you do it before you go in a shower, and I am going to do a session on how to body brush, because again, there's a lot of misinformation out there about body brushing. But if you're doing any lymphatic work before you go in the shower or body brushing, don't go for a hot shower. Kind of coldish to lukewarm is the key. It'll just help everything along.
Yeah, fantastic. So somebody's asking, how do we join the challenge? You simply do the big 6 every day. That's you joining the challenge. Keep an eye. We're going to be doing lives, Nicola, usually around 7:30 in the morning, but you can watch them in replay. So either on our page or in the group or on my profile. They're everywhere. It's all over Twitter and YouTube and LinkedIn. So there's lots of options there. It's just a simple case of joining in when you have the time. And January, as I say, was intermittent fasting. February was breath work. March was mindfulness and letting go. So there's tons of information that you can use there for free to help yourselves. So listen, hun, magic to see you.
You too.
And you are a phenomenal body worker. Nicola gave me a
you.
session when I went up for the Goddess Gathering. So if you live in that area, or if you're up in Aberdeen, then she's well worth a call to see. I know you're super busy, but if people can get you in advance, you can really learn a lot of it. And you're like me, you like to give people stuff, because it's lovely to get hands on. There's nothing nicer to lie on your table and receive that treatment. But if you're not in Aberdeen and you don't have the time, and you maybe don't have the financial, means at the moment, then all these things you can do yourself. So it's so powerful. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah, I think, when's your next live? Keep an eye.
Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday at 7:30.
Fantastic. Okay, happy Easter. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Ciao.
Bye, everybody.